how beautiful alpine mountains are in the springtime. You can watch this amazing landscape in the fresh Kurt Haney video. The Swiss pilot made a 100-kilometer paragliding trip across the alpine ridges and thermals, and he also uploaded great telemetry animation showing how he was searching for lifts and travelled such a great distance. So good. And as always, we have much more fresh and interesting aviation content for you guys. I'm your host, Regan TETLOW, and this is Season 6, Episode 8 of Sports News. Let's get into it. Unfortunately, sad news comes from the board of the 2021 FAI F2 World Championships for controlled line model aircraft, which should have been held in Warsaw, Poland this year. Local organisers, in consultation with the president of the CIAM, decided to postpone the event to 2022 in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. The board is planning to run the FAI F2 World Championships from the 8th to the 13th of August 2022, but this date needs to be confirmed by the FAI. In this situation, all registrations for 2021 event have been cancelled and the new ones will start in January 2022. We have some fresh news from the sailplane events across Europe. After 5 tasks, the Copa Città di Versailles sailplane competition was finished 4 days ago, and it was organised for the 18-metre gliders. Among 8 pilots from Italy, mostly men, the winning trophy goes to Miss Margherita Acquedeni, and it's great preparation for her before the World Women's Gliding Championships, which will be organised next year. Congratulations! Leszno in Poland was a host of the Polish sailplane nationals in the 15-metre class. An outstanding number of 50 pilots registered on the starting list, but unfortunately after a week of competing in bad weather conditions, only 2 tasks were finished and the rest were cancelled. That's why this year Poland will stay without a new national champion. The FAI have confirmed a new stunning record, this time in the canopy formation category. Take a look. 15 Russian parachutists broke the full break large formation sequential European record on September the 20th, 2020, and now the FAI have confirmed it officially. Flying in a tight formation, locking feet into the nose of other canopies from the other parachutists is an extremely difficult task to achieve, but as you can see, the Russians have the skills. Congratulations. My first special guest this week started out as a breakdancer and trampolinist before finding his way into the world of wind tunnels. He has since travelled the world setting up shows and events and has hit the wind tunnel competition scene with a whole new fresh style. It is, from Latvia, Toms Evans.
So while you're in this thought process, what ideas are you thinking? What parallel lives have you thought about? What other ideas, other things?
I've been first of all, like this when the pandemic started,
Yeah.
the best part what I enjoyed it, I could spend the time with my family. So I have 2 kids, yeah. so I was just really having lots of fun with them, and then I was thinking where it could go, like as a sport, as just the flying, and more I was thinking about it, more I saw the future in an open tunnel, in a big open tunnels somewhere. I don't know if it's gonna happen in my life, but I hope in my kids' life they're gonna have a huge open tunnels like a stadiums, yeah, and they will have a competition when they're gonna like fly something like a race or something around. But so yeah, that was our thoughts. We were talking with the owner of Aerodium to make like a stadium of the open tunnels, so it's like a bigger round. So the race would be that you can fall out. So so for those who are watching, they can easily see if someone loses, because if you lose, you just fall out, yeah. And it kind of have that feeling of someone crashing, and people like see someone crashing. So yeah, we were thinking that could be the future projects for the open tunnels. Yeah.
I want to present that.
I
absolutely want to present that.
Yeah, so the idea is that it's gonna be a huge stage. It's like it's something like and it's like oval shape, but in the middle there's nothing. But it's actually like a track, so you can just fly around, and then there's a different levels. You can fly up and down because the open tunnels you can just set in the row, and then you fly. So it's
Me and Tom's had a long old chat, so the rest of this entertaining interview can be found, as always, on the Air Sports Promotion YouTube channel. Adrian IKON has completed his overflight of the North Pole and is on his way south along the west coast of America to Portland, the terminus of the flight. IKON and Shinji Maeda took off together in nearly identical V-tail Bonanzas from Manassas, Virginia on May the 6th and flew together to Iceland via Maine and Newfoundland. After an overnight stay in Reykjavik, the two parted ways with Maeda eastbound on a solo circumnavigation as IKON went north to head to the top of the world. After crossing the pole, IKON headed to Fairbanks, where he landed, and after a 20-hour flight, then Maeda got a lot of tips from IKON on completing his trip. IKON did a similar circumnavigation in 2016 and has been a mentor to Maeda, who has only one eye. What a feat. Start your engines, guys. The Air Race 1 Series returns with a San Angelo, USA event this autumn. The West Texas city, which is in the heart of the ranching country and situated on the picturesque Concho River, will host a series of races on Halloween weekend from October the 30th to the 31st. Top air racing teams will compete head-to-head in front of a live crowd at the San Angelo Regional Airport. The event will be one of the first sporting events open to spectators in the region since the COVID-19 regulations limited live events. We can't wait to bring you the first results. We've been watching tons of great FPV drone videos from around the world, some showing great landscapes, some showing other sports activities, but this one is probably the first in its category. The FPV drone footage is of a factory demolition. Take a look. My second special guest is a well-known true legend in the world of formation skydiving and wingsuits. From early beginnings in the East End of London to a life in Florida. He turned jumpsuit manufacturing into a serious competitive business, and he went on to produce and compete in some of the best wingsuits ever made. It is, of course, Tony Regallo.
And wingsuits, let's talk about how that all started for you.
I saw them come out. No, I used to make them for Patrick DeGuerre, and I'd make his suits right at the beginning. And they were banned because everybody died when they did it.
Yeah.
And I made him the suit because he was on the four-way team with the French team, tag.
Yeah.
And I had his measurements, so I'd make him suits. And so he said, make me this suit with the zips in the arms and leave the side seams open. So I did it, wondering why. And he came out with a wingsuit. And I made him a few suits like that. And then he died. And at the same time, I was doing a radio host whose name I've forgotten. I should have prepared myself, shouldn't I?
Oh, Adrian Nichols.
Adrian, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was doing the same thing with him, making him suits, and he was making the wings, or his girlfriend was, or something.
Yeah.
And he died as well. The Cyprus opened, he does a student Cyprus or something, and it fired. So I lost both of them, so that turned me off. And then Birdman came out, didn't they, with their suit? And they had that really complicated hinge system back and front. And I thought, oh, that won't catch on, but we'll watch it. I did one jump with that suit on a really windy day, and I got out too close to the drop zone and went into wind with nothing happening. I turned around and went zoom, past the drop zone, turned back, and it was, I thought, pretty boring. Yeah. So I wasn't into it. And I saw how popular it was getting. And so I made one with single skin, that was rubbish. And Jeff Nebelkoff said, let's make wingsuits. I said, yeah, great.
Want to know more from Tony? Visit our YouTube channel right after the show, and you can watch the whole interview right there. On Wednesday, May the 5th, Starship serial number 15 successfully completed SpaceX's 5th high-altitude flight test of the Starship prototype, from Starbase in Texas. The Raptor engines reignited to platform the landing flip maneuver before touching down for a nominal landing on the pad. These Starship test flights improve understanding and development of a fully reusable transportation system designed to carry crew and cargo on long-duration interplanetary flights, help humanity return to the moon and travel to Mars and beyond. We are still waiting for confirmation that SN15 will fly again. Stay tuned. IANG 216, a well-developed Chinese eVTOL aircraft able to carry people on board, made a stunning appearance on Monday night. The vehicle was used at the opening ceremony of the Chinese Super League, and the Vulcan Cup flew into Gongzai Takai Stadium on board the IANG aircraft. Just take a look at this video.
这是全球首款载人级自动驾驶飞行器，深厚的科技质感，赋能文化产业，致力于让每个人都享受到安全、智能、环保的空中交通，让创新智能科技再次改变人们的生活。
Well, as I often say, the future is now, but now it's also a good time for our Hero of the Week section. With a huge demand for housing threatening airfields across the UK, John Gowder of the General Aviation Awareness Council warns that the loss of vital infrastructure could compromise the UK's regional and urban air ambitions. In this fresh video called Fighting to Save Airfields for Future Flight, which can be viewed free on the We Are Fin YouTube channel, we can also see how many differences there are between the US and UK general aviation community structures and how it affects on national and local transportation possibilities in Great Britain. It's really worth a watch. On the 16th of May 1986, the Paramount Pictures motion picture Top Gun, directed by Tony Scott, was released in 1,028 theatres in the United States. The romance action movie centered around the lives of US Navy fighter pilots. The featured actors were Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis, Val Kilmer, Anthony Edwards and Tom Skerritt. On the 17th of May 1942, after a 761-mile flight over 5 days, test pilot Charles Lester Morris and Igor Sikorsky arrived at the Wright Field in Ohio to deliver the US Army's first helicopter. The Vought Sikorsky XR-4 Morris hovered directly up to the base administration building and landed there. He and Sikorsky were greeted by a large group of people. On the 18th of May 1969, the Apollo 10 Saturn rocket lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center on a full dress rehearsal for landing on the moon that would follow with Apollo 11 2 months later. On board were Colonel Thomas Stafford, Commander John Young and Commander Eugene Cernan. This was the first Apollo mission in which all 3 flight crew members had previous space experience. Also, on the 18th of May 1966, Sheila Scott departed London Heathrow Airport on the first solo around-the-world flight by a British subject, the longest distance solo flight and only the 3rd around-the-world flight by a woman. Her airplane was a 1966 Piper Comanche B, which she had named Myth 2. During her around-the-world flight, Sheila Scott set 10 FEI world records for speed over a recognised course. That's it for today, but we will wait right here for you next week. In the meantime, you can write to us via the email on screen, register on the airsportsfan.com platform, or contact me via Twitter. We'll see you soon. And as always, stay safe and keep your eyes on the skies.